What's new, crew? If you're new, my name's Cassandra. Today I am bringing you guys a video on what we eat in a day with no power. If you are new, in April of 2024, a massive ice and snowstorm came through our area of Wisconsin and knocked out our power for 8 days. That happening last year helped us get ready for more extended power outages. We bought a couple of pieces of equipment you're gonna see me use in this video, and we're gonna talk about in just a second. So when this snowstorm came around in March of 2025, we just got power back yesterday or the day before. Now with this storm coming almost a year later in March of 2025, we were much more prepared. We had a lot better idea of how things were going to work. But now over the last 11 months, I have 2.5 weeks of no power cooking under my belt. So I've really gotten kind of used to it and found a rhythm that works for me. So we're going to talk about that in this video as well, just to give you guys a little bit of an insight, because I know a lot of people are curious on those things. So the first thing you're going to see me using in every single meal in this video is this Weber camp stove right here. It does have an ignition switch on it right here, that little red button there. So it does ignite on its own, it's supposed to, but I would still highly recommend having a lighter of some sort, just in case that ignition switch, for whatever reason, is giving you issues. There are sometimes I have to go in and manually light it. Other than that, I don't have any complaints about this. It gets the job done, and there's that. I'm pretty sure my husband either picked this up from Menards or from Walmart, one of the two, during the big snowstorm in 2024. The other thing you are 100% going to need for this Weber camp stove are these little green tanks. Walmart sells these in these 2-packs. There are 1 pound of propane in each of these little green tanks. You can hook this Weber camp stove up to like a 25-pound propane tank that you would use for a regular like outside grill or a Blackstone or something like that, as long as you have a hose to do that. I don't have an issue with these little green tanks. I think they work pretty well. These last a decently long time. Last year during the 8-day power outage, I cooked on this camp stove exclusively, and I think we went through like 2 or 3 of these little green tanks. So a couple tanks can last you a decently long time. So we just keep these up on the shelf now, and we use these. Our little space heaters can run off these, as well as the camp stove. So we just keep these stocked now. They're pretty inexpensive. Walmart sells these in their camping or hunting section, and we just buy the dual packs and keep them on the shelf for situations like this. The other thing I do have is a dual stove propane standing cooktop. I got it last year mainly for being able to can outside. I can put my water bath canners out on there, and I can use it to can outside when it's really hot in the summertime, keep the house cool, and do all of my canning outside and make a little bit of a makeshift kitchen. However, I did pull that out. It's currently set up on my front porch. I did not end up using that during the power outage we just had, but once again, it is an option. It hooks up to a 25-pound propane tank, like it would a grill, a Blackstone, something like that. I really like having the option of having something that I can use outside, but also having something like the camp stove that I can use inside, because when we lose power, it has always been because of an ice or a rainstorm, sleet, snow, things that start maybe as rain, the temperature drops, turns into ice. This last ice storm, they said we got like 1.75 inches of just sheet ice, and then we topped it with like 5 or 6 inches of snow as the temperature fluctuates, and that's what caused all of the power line damage and the transformer box damages and things like that, all of the flooding that happened, and sub pumps to go out and all of those things. So being able to have the option where I can cook outside if I wanted to, if things start to kind of chill out weather-wise, is really nice, but also having something I can cook inside. People get very concerned when they see me cooking inside the camp stove because there is a risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. It's on for a very short amount of time. It's really not an issue. We do have battery powered carbon monoxide detectors. What I do is I just open up my kitchen window, let the breeze come through a little bit while I'm cooking on it, and it's never been an issue. We've never had the alarms go off. We've never even like smelled the gas or the propane or anything like that. It's really not that big of a deal, but something definitely to at least mention. Of course, everything is kind of at your own risk. Do what you're comfortable with. You, of course, could always just set up this propane camp stove in your garage and cook out in your garage. Leave your garage door open. At least you have a little bit of a wind block. You are underneath some sort of roofing situation. That's always an option too. So that is kind of everything I used in this video. I know I'm bad at links. I will make sure that I have linked below the camp stove, the little propane tanks, and my outside standing propane stove that I use mostly for canning. But I'll make sure that that's all linked there for you guys, and you guys can have those options. So let's go ahead and hop into like a full day of what we eat in a day cooking with these pieces of equipment. I started the day off with a cup of coffee in my Keurig. Thanks to the generator, at least my coffee makers are still up and running. We choose not to use our stove when the power is out, even though we have a generator, because the stove takes up so much power off the generator. We basically have to shut everything else down only to run the stove. So I still choose to cook on the camp stove. I just heated up some breakfast leftovers that I had made the day before the power went out. It was just some of our farm fresh eggs, some of our local ground breakfast sausage, and we had one hash brown in there with some cheese. And I just heated that up in the cast iron skillet on top of the camp stove, and we served that up. And this was a great, easy breakfast. This is something I totally could have made as well if I didn't have it as leftovers in the fridge. Some of us wrapped ours in tortillas to make little breakfast tacos, topped them with some of our home canned salsa, and some of my kids just ate it as a breakfast scramble. We paired this with some of our home canned fruit. Most of our kids picked pineapple. I ate mine with some of our canned applesauce that we have on the shelf, and that was a really easy, simple breakfast. Great. One of my kids was still hungry after that, and he opted for a bowl of cereal that we keep up on the shelf. For lunch, it was decided that most everybody wanted ramen. So I tried to get my water boiling up on my camp stove. In reality, I probably should have made this out on the propane stove that I have outside that I use for canning. It would have worked a lot better, but I didn't want to do that because it was snow, sleet raining, and I did not want to stand outside. We paired that with a couple of our farm fresh eggs, and once again I opted to just heat up some leftovers that I had in the fridge. This is that Cajun chicken orzo. People were asking for the recipe. I can link the recipe down below. I found this off Pinterest. It's really easy, but I just heated that up with a knob of butter to kind of get some moisture back into it. Really great. We divvied up our ramen. Some people wanted chicken, some people wanted beef. It does not look that appetizing. Definitely not. But everybody ate it. They said it tasted fine. It just didn't look delicious. We paired that with some of our eggs, getting a little protein in, and everybody was really, really happy with that. And then by the time we made all of those, my orzo was reheated, so I ate that. While I was eating that, I wanted to take advantage of the heat still coming off the camp stove. At this point, I had it completely turned off to try to save as much propane in our little propane torches as we could. And I dropped in some peanut butter, some chocolate chips, and we are going to just melt that down. Within a couple minutes, it completely melted. It worked really well. I put in our Chex Mix, and of course we are making puppy chow. We all just wanted kind of something fun, something sweet, and because this was our second extended power outage in a year, I kind of wanted to experiment and see like what can I still make. That way, kind of inevitably when this happens again, I at least know more of what we're capable of. Last power outage, it was more about surviving and just getting through it. And this time, things were a little bit more relaxed. So I wanted to try to see what we could really do. Before we knew it, everybody was hungry and it was time to eat again. So I had pulled out some ground beef. We're making burgers. I'm using this whiskey burger seasoning from Blackstone. It's really good. It almost has like a barbecue flavor to it. It's really nice. I also put in some pepper and some onion powder, and we are pressing our patties with my $1 patty press from the Dollar Tree. Once again, we're using our cast iron pan here on the camp stove. And yes, I could put this like right on the camp stove and use it like a grill, but I really just wanted to keep my camp stove clean. It's a lot easier to wipe out the cast iron skillet than it is to try to scrub the grates of the grill to keep things kind of clean and whatnot. So I just opted to cook it in the cast iron, and these worked really well. I went downstairs and pulled out some of our canned items that we keep for convenience, some baked beans, some corn, and I also pulled out some canned fruit. Once all of our burgers were done, I just dropped the baked beans right into that same cast iron pan, heated those up, and once those were heated, we scooped those out, put it in a bowl. I topped it with tin foil, same with our burger patties. Because space is limited on the camp stove and I can't always cook multiple things at a time, I tend to just wrap it in tin foil, try to keep it warm, and then that way at least everything's hot all at once, you know? Put our corn in a pot with a knob of butter, heated that up, and that was dinner. Not too bad, not too shabby, and it was actually super delicious, and everyone was really happy and very full after this meal, which is always really great. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. We are heading into tornado season. I obviously don't live in Tornado Alley here in Wisconsin. We do get the occasional tornado, but nothing like other parts of the country see. We mostly, our severe weather is ice, snow, things like that. We live in northern Wisconsin, so we get it pretty rough here with the lakeside snow effect off of the Great Lakes and things. We definitely get that where we live, and we live really rurally, so when the power goes out, usually we're the first ones to lose power and the last ones to get it back. So having these things have become just something we need to keep around and up and running and things like that. But with it being the time of year it is, with tornadoes being a thing and hurricanes and all of the earthquakes that are happening, it seems like more weather systems are coming in, and they are worse than they ever have been kind of all around the world. It's a good time to just kind of stock up on these things. I know that some of these things can be expensive, and that's why we also haven't really invested in these things until last year when we were absolutely forced to, because it was either if you wanted to keep your house warm, if you wanted to keep your freezers frozen and your fridge running, you had to get a generator. And if you wanted to eat hot meals, like, you had to get a camp stove. We have all those things now, and we are still slowly stocking up. I plan on doing an entire video on basically the differences between last year's power outage and this year's power outage. Were we more prepared? Things that I think we did that helped us a lot be more prepared this time. Things that I still want to do to become more prepared if this were to happen again, because it's kind of showing that this is going to be almost like an annual thing, or like something that happens in the spring, and I want to make sure that my family is prepared. We're a family of 6, soon to be a family of 7, nearing in the last couple weeks of my 3rd trimester here, and I just really want to make sure that everything is prepared. But that is going to be a completely separate video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this kind of what we eat in a day, eating off of the pantry, the Homestead shelf, the canning shelf, and I hope that this was helpful for you. And if you're taking away anything from this, I know that we can't always get everything all at once, especially with the price of everything these days is really high. But I definitely say make it a priority to keep some of these things on hand, and hope and pray you never have to use them. And once you purchase them, please just keep them. I saw so many people that I know in my real life that bought generators and these camp stoves and all of these things last year during the power outage. After we received power back, everybody was selling them. You could get them for like next to nothing off of Facebook Marketplace. And here we are 11 months later, and those same people had those things, sold them, and we needed them again. And they didn't have them because they bought them and sold them. So please just keep them, store them somewhere, put them in a tote, hide them underneath your stairs, in your attic, on a shelf in your garage, something, but having something is always going to be better than nothing. That being said, I hope wherever you guys are, you're having a fantastic day. I never want these videos to scare people. I know that this can give you anxiety and it can get you down the rabbit hole. At least it does for me. Once I start scrolling, sometimes I start doom scrolling and it can really freak me out a little bit, but it's better to be prepared. And I found the more prepared I am, the less anxiety I get when I actually get into those things, because I know that at least my family's gonna be warm. We have water and ways to cook good food. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me, and I will catch you guys in another one. Bye.